Third parties, let's talk about it. As both mainline political parties look like they're going to put out a, let's just say, uninspired candidate, the discourse around third parties has once again pierced the political imagination of the internet. But to understand political parties in America, I think it's useful to look across the pond. In the United Kingdom, they have a parliamentary system with more parties than flavors in a Midwest ice cream parlor. This is also the case in most countries in Europe, because it is usually the case that no party is strong enough to form a full government on their own. Political parties create alliances or coalitions with other political parties that align with them on their similar policy objectives. In American politics, I think the same kind of dynamic plays out. Even though we only have two parties per side, there's coalitions within these two parties, Democrat and Republican, and they're both kind of fighting within each other in order to get their policy agenda put forward. Take the Tea Party, for example. In 2010, a group of fiscal conservatives, they call themselves the Tea Party, got elected likely as a reaction to the first 2 years of the Obama presidency. These Republicans became frustrated with the mainstream brand of Republicans who they saw as not being aggressive enough in stopping Obama's so-called tax and spend policies that they saw as destructive. They became very hardcore obstructionists, and that sort of same energy can still be felt in the Republican Party today. I see somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene as sort of the spiritual successor to a lot of what that Tea Party movement accomplished. And to look at an example of the left, I think we have to look no farther back than the Bernie Sanders movement. In 2016, Bernie Sanders sort of disrupted the coronation of Hillary Clinton. Everybody sort of saw that as an inevitability. But the thing that Bernie Sanders did is he was able to sort of create a single political coalition out of these disparate elements that were sitting around on the left. And it kind of worked. Joe Biden is a much more progressive president than Barack Obama was, or Hillary Clinton would have been. I mean, things like the Inflation Reduction Act and things like canceling student loan debt. I think these things are legitimately big progressive wins, and I think to give Bernie Sanders no credit is a little rude. I also think that Congress has been shifted by the Bernie Sanders movement. I mean, we have people like the Squad, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, people like that in the House of Representatives. And in the Senate, there's people like Ro Khanna, who have much more influence now than they did a while ago. And I think that has to do, again, with sort of the emergence of the Bernie Sanders coalition, if you want to call it that. For me, third-party zealots in the United States amount to just a bunch of losers who are LARPing as these intellectual philosophers. If your politics amount to just both sides are bad, bro, then you need to get better politics. I would say I'm sorry, but I'm really not sorry. I think that if you support a third party, you're just a high-minded doomer, and your politics are basically just a bad psychological defense mechanism. Although this problem is a big deal on the progressive left, you know, the people unironically voting for the Green Party, I think this thinking is actually a lot more pervasive on the right side of the political spectrum. You know, if you talk to any conservative these days, they will always have some kind of bone to pick with one element or another of their political party. Whether it's golf course conservatives railing about the crazy evangelicals, or, you know, the sort of MAGA types complaining about elitist rhinos who are running the Republican Party. You know, everybody on the right side of the political spectrum has sort of some axe to grind with some other coalition. But my criticism of the people who, you know, fall into this sort of, we need a third party, both parties are equally as bad, is sort of the same criticism I'd give to any doomer. It's like, literally go outside and touch grass. If you want to push American politics in a particular direction, you can do that within the two-party system. But the catch is you're going to have to actually put in some elbow grease. You're going to have to put in some work. You have to push your party in a particular direction instead of just waiting for the mythical third party to, you know, come in and make sense to everybody and sweep them off their feet. If you're a young person and you legitimately want to make a difference in American politics, then find a candidate, a local candidate that believes in your values, and go out there and knock on some doors, make some phone calls, go out there and canvass. It's actually, you know, a really good time. I was able to have the opportunity to do this when I was younger, and it's one of the most positive experiences that I've ever had with American politics. You meet a bunch of cool people. You know, the final thing I'll throw out there is that if you legitimately just hate both sides of the political spectrum, I can understand that. And if you want to give out a protest vote, I think that's, you know, your right to do so. I would just say, do not ever sit out an election. There's definitely somebody on your ballot who agrees with your principles, at least to some extent. To be clear, I am not necessarily an American institutionalist. I do not believe that our American institutions are so good because they just happen to be American. But the thing is, I just really don't like complaining about institutions or hearing people complain about institutions, because for me, The nitty-gritty particulars of it doesn't matter. I think as long as we have a semi-functioning democracy, we'll be okay. I just think that the problem is that people need to act within that democracy, right? We can't be talking about institutional change if we're not being able to, fight for our agenda within the confines of the system that we have. I don't think that the left especially should be disenfranchising themselves. But what do you all think? I'm not married to this idea, so I'd love to receive some criticism back in the comment section. If you want to see me hold more water for enlightened centrists, click on this video. And if you want to learn more about the minimum wage and the economic theory surrounding it, click on this video. Thank you for watching. By the way, new camera.